What if I told you that a small city in Florida is becoming one of the most popular places to move to in the entire country? Let me break this down for you. Port St. Lucie, a place many might not have heard of outside of Florida, just cracked the top 10 list of hottest zip codes in America for 2026. And this isn't a fluke, it's part of a larger pattern that's reshaping how we think about where people choose to live. Personally, I think this says a lot about the American dream today. It's no longer just about big cities or the coasts, it's about finding a balance between affordability, quality of life, and opportunity. What makes this really interesting is that Port St. Lucie isn't even on the coast, yet it's pulling in so much relocation activity. Why? Well, let's dig into the numbers and the psychology behind it. Here's the thing, when a place like Port St. Lucie jumps into the top 10, it's not just about the numbers. It's about the story they tell. The report from MovingPlace uses metrics like move volume per capita, which in Port St. Lucie is 91.73. That's not just a number, it's a signal. It means for every 1,000 people there, almost 92 are moving in. That's a tidal wave of new residents. From my perspective, this suggests a shift in priorities. People aren't just chasing jobs anymore, they're chasing communities that offer stability, lower costs, and maybe even a slower pace of life. But what's really fascinating is that this isn't a one-time thing. Port St. Lucie has been on this list before, in May 2026 and December 2025. That consistency is what makes it stand out. It's not a flash in the pan, it's a sustained trend. Now, let's talk about why this matters beyond just the numbers. When you look at the top 10 zip codes, 4 of them are in Florida. That's not random. Florida has always been a magnet for retirees, but now it's attracting a younger demographic too. Why? Well, think about the median household income in Port St. Lucie, $90,201. That's actually pretty competitive compared to other cities in the top 10. But the median home price is $430,100, which sounds steep. But wait, here's the twist, when you factor in the cost of living, taxes, and the overall lifestyle, that price might not be as bad as it seems. What many people don't realize is that Florida's tax policies, lack of state income tax, and growing job markets in sectors like healthcare and tech are making it a magnet for people looking to uproot their lives without sacrificing their standard of living. Let's step back for a second. This isn't just about Florida. The top 10 zip codes include places like Inlet Beach, Florida, and Aurora, Colorado. These are diverse locations, but they all share something in common, they're places where people are actively choosing to relocate. What this really suggests is that the American migration pattern is evolving. We're seeing a decentralization of population growth, with people moving away from overcrowded urban centers and into areas that offer more space, better schools, and a sense of community. It's a reaction to the high costs and stress of cities like New York or San Francisco. But here's the deeper question. What does this mean for the future of housing markets, local economies, and even politics? If cities like Port St. Lucie are consistently on these lists, we might see a shift in infrastructure investment, policy focus, and even cultural identity. A detail I find fascinating is that while the report highlights move volume, it doesn't account for the reasons behind the moves. Are people fleeing high taxes? Seeking remote work flexibility? Or is it something else entirely? This raises a bigger issue. We're measuring migration but not necessarily understanding the motivations. And that's where the real story lies. So, what do you think? Is this the beginning of a new era for American cities, or is it just a temporary trend? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.